All right, MDA, you ready to record?
Yep, recording is on.
All right, so may as well go ahead and introduce everyone. Hello, everyone. I'm Rock, and my always esteemed co-host, MDA, as always.
What is up? What is up?
Back on the stage, podcast 18. I think it's been like a month now since we've done a podcast, maybe longer
Yeah,
than that.
it's been a while.
Yeah, we've had a lot of stuff, so we've got a good bit of stuff to go over. I think uh, something that we haven't done for a while is the TB stats. And so I'll go over those. And then I think we're going to go get into the Omicrons. Uh, and then I think after that, we'll go with the Outrider. We'll do talk about Proving Grounds, the Fifth Brother, and then they announced the Grand Inquisitor is coming, but they didn't really go too much in detail on him. But
I would. I'm what I'm thinking might happen is while we're live, they might drop one more thing. But as of right now, yeah,
yeah,
we only just have the Fifth Brothers, so we
yeah.
will go as if nothing else is coming today.
All right, that's fine. All right, so I got my TV stats. I'm just gonna do light side geo. We're currently in dark side geo, so I can't really give good accurate stats, so I won't try to do that. But for returns, last go we got 20 stars, and I think we hit 28 cam. But two, I think it was TV before we got 31. But like, I'm okay with losing a couple cam. Like, it's a tough mission. Not everyone's gonna have the same success. As long as we're in that 25 to 35 range, I'm happy. Age, we have 13 stars, 18 cam. Begins also did light side geo, and they got 9 stars, 9 cam. And then Eternal was light side Hoth, 30 stars, and then they got 29 Rolo, which was I think actually was more than 29. I think it was closer to 30 30 something if I'm not mistaken, but I could be wrong. So let's that's the stats. Let's go right into, I guess, which one you want to do first. You want to do Jen's or Farm Boy Luke's Omicron first?
Let's jump into Jin's first. I need to. Here, I'll pull it up here. So, for Jin, she got a Territory War Omicron. So Jin actually got a minor rework. It is on her unique ability. So the main thing that was added to her regular Zeta is that Rogue One allies are now immune to buff immunity. So that is added to the Zeta. So before the Omicron, Rogue One allies are immune to buff immunity. Jin is immune to stun and gains 10% potency each time she critically hits an enemy. And now with the Omicron, while in Territory Wars, Rogue One allies gain 30% max health and potency and 20 speed. Whenever a Rogue One ally's buff expires during an enemy turn, Jin gains 10% turn meter. If all allies are Rogue One at the start of a battle, whenever Jin critically hits an enemy, all allies recover 10% health and gain an additional bonus depending on their role. Attackers gain critical damage up and offense up for 2 turns. Tanks gain critical hit immunity and taunt for 2 turns. And supports or healers gain evasion up and speed up for 2 turns. So this one came out a while ago. I haven't seen any gameplay on it. Then again, I haven't really looked that hard for it. But what was your thoughts here on Jin's Omicron?
I like the max health and the speed, especially with shoot, I can't think of his name. God, the guy that's like he's blind in the movie. I
Oh,
can't think of
Cheer it.
Chirrut. Yeah, uh, that's the max health is going to be pretty nice with Chirrut just because he gives all that health up. Uh, and then also Rogue One's a pretty decent like buff heavy team, especially with Cassian.
Yeah.
So if a buff expires, no, Rogue One ally buff. Yeah, oh, I thought it was a debuff. My bad. But all those buffs expiring, giving Jin so much Terminator is going to be pretty nasty. But I just don't. I don't see it. I don't think I can see this being like a Imbo type Omicron.
Hmm.
Because so far, Imbos is pretty good. Is pretty solid in Territory Wars. I just don't see this one having the same effect. I mean, it's going to be pretty decent on defense. It's going to be just a little bit more annoying, but I don't think it'll be uh, make it as tough.
I
That's
think
just my thought.
I think this is one of those that I would not go out of my way to put this on. I mean,
Yeah,
unless I had like a full Relic 7 or like, high Relic Rogue One team. I think this is going to be one of those. I think when Omicrons become less of a luxury, I actually would consider putting this one on just because. I mean, so looking at her lead, Rebels have plus 35% potency, so they're getting an extra 30% potency. So that's plus 65% potency. They recover 5% protection whenever they gain a buff, and enemies that suffer debuffs during Rebel Allies' turn have a 50% chance to become exposed for 2 turns. This exposed can't be resisted. So you're getting the extra, potency, which is nice, the extra speed, and the immune to buff immunity is nice because now nothing is stopping you from getting. I mean, unless you get shock or something like that, or like a weird interaction like target lock with droids, but. I mean, so this is where you're able to recover protection, and Jin getting a ton of turn meter is really nice. I don't know. I like it. It's a good upgrade. I think this definitely like this is now like a team. Like if you were to put this on defense in Territory Wars, I think like you have to send something kind of decent at this, as opposed to just like I don't know
Malik Solo
Malik Solo or like throw Wampa
or
Solo at this or something. And then
yeah,
again, maybe you
you're
still
gonna
could. Maybe you still could, but I don't know.
you're gonna have to at least throw a full team at it.
Yeah, it looks fine. And, Jin's a fast character. She's got base 183 speed. So you throw some, 20 speed on that. And, yeah, this could be a fun team. So I like it. Not a bad Omicron.
Let's go to Farm Boy Luke next, which his also did not come in like his own little like post. He didn't get his own like dedicated post. They just said content update on 420, and I was like, okay, cool. I wonder what minor fixes they're gonna have to the game. And then I look and I'm like, oh, there's a whole Omicron here.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
now there is a disclaimer. This is probably subject to change. They did put a post out on the forums saying that, they are going to be tweaking this before the start of Territory Wars, but nothing's happened, so we're going to treat it as it is. So this is going on to his unique, and his unique reads beforehand. Luke has plus 25 critical chance, and at the start of each of his turns, Luke gains 10% critical damage stacking until the end of the encounter. Now, while on Territory Wars, Luke gains 30% defense, max health, and tenacity. At the start of each of his turns, Luke gains 10% defense and offense stacking until the end of the encounter. Whenever Luke scores a critical hit during his turn, he attacks again, limit once per turn, and when Luke is prevented from using an ability during his turn, he recovers 50% health and protection. I'm not going to lie. This is a solid Omicron.
uh, yeah. Poor. Finally, we actually. Usually, a lot of these like bad characters have been getting like Rose and Chief Nebbit and all them, like they've been getting like pretty bad Omicron. Even Sidious, they all got like very bad Omicrons that don't really help out the kid at all. But like you get Farm Boy Luke and he's stacking offense on top of that stacking critical chance and critical damage. So I mean, if you can get him, my thinking here is if you can get him kind of fast, or if you can get him in a team where you can speed, like give turn meter to him.
So, but for anyone who doesn't know, the reason that this is going to get nerfed
Yeah,
is on Farm Boy Luke's basic, it reads deal physical damage to target enemy. If this attack scores a critical hit, gain 40% turn meter and inflicted damage over time for 3 turns. And if you read his unique, whenever he scores a critical hit, he attacks again. So let's say he crits both times. That's 80% turn meter. Immediately, I would say the more theory crafting minded people thought of Wedge Lead. And Wedge, I would say, is a rebel that not many people use. You have to relic him up for Jedi Master Luke, but other than that, most people don't even use his ship. But his lead is that you get 10% turn meter whenever you critically hit an enemy. So if you're using Farm Boy Luke, he crits twice. That's an additional 20% turn meter. You're at 100% turn meter, and you can just create an endless loop of just doing your basic. And even if you were to do the special, you crit on the special. That is so he crits, that'd be 10% turn meter. He would follow up with his basic, which is 40 plus an additional 10. That's 60% turn meter on the special. So I mean, the TM he's going to be getting on just from this Omicron is insane, and on top of that, he's stacking all that offense and critical damage. I mean, it really only takes him, a couple turns, and he can be, hitting really, really hard, especially if you take him up to like Relic 5 or Relic 7. He's going to be hitting pretty hard.
Yeah. The special doesn't do any turn meter gain. It's just the basic does turn meter.
Right.
Okay.
I could see this. You could throw like Wedge lead. I could see this throwing this against like a Darth Revan team. I think you can make pretty quick work out of a Darth Revan team. Especially because Luke, if he were to ever get fear, he would get 50% health and protection when his turn would go. But anyways, we'll see how it goes with the nerf. But I'm actually planning on applying this one, even with the nerfs. I mean, depending on how badly they nerf it. But I'm actually planning on putting this one on. What were your thoughts here about this one?
It was kind of from left field. I didn't expect him to do like a Farm Boy Luke Omnicron. So whenever I saw it, I was like, huh, this is quite intriguing. And then first read through of it, I was like, I was reading that part where it was like, if he doesn't use an ability during his turn, then he gains health and protection. And I was like, there's not a whole lot of instances where you stun Farm Boy Luke and you really want to stun him. And so I was like, this doesn't seem, a, a good Omicron. But the stacking offense, the extra defense, the extra health, and then when you were talking about Malik and the fear, and even like this might be a decent M Trooper counter. I don't know who's throwing M Troopers on defense, but I mean, there's the fear with it's Piet, right? Piet does the fear, not Gideon. I think it's Piet that does fear with that crew. And so even then, like that could be decent, but I don't see if you're gonna do that, you're gonna have to bring in CLS. But even then, like a regular CLS is gonna handle troopers pretty easily. So I like it as like a little mid tier team. I mean, you always need something to take out bounty hunters and stuff like that. Bounty hunters are just a staple defensive team.
I think this is another one where, like, if you went for Jedi Master Luke,
Yeah,
you're able to do something with a wedge lead now. Because even in, like, if you went for JML, you get Mon Mothma, but like the ideal Mon Mothma team doesn't use wedge or bigs. So usually wedge or bigs just kind of chills there in a Rolo team, which you either place in the very back wall in Territory Wars, maybe if you're like early in a mid game. But I would say like in Returns Territory Wars, I Rolo, like if I'm using Rolo, we're not doing good. Like that's
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. What is next on the list? We want to do Outrider next,
Yeah.
just real quick.
Yeah,
I guess we can do.
jump on the Outrider. So this ship came out. Looks like it
Pretty
was
well
about almost actually 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So Outrider, it is the newest ship to the Rebel fleet. It is a light side support cargo ship, Rebel, Scoundrel, and Smuggler, and it is piloted by Dash Rendar. And it's another one of these. Dash doesn't have the Rebel tag, but his ship does, just like Beskar Mando with the Bounty Hunter tag. So basically, we'll run through the kits. On the basic, deal physical damage 3 times to target enemy and inflict critical damage down for 2 turns. Special number 1, deal physical damage 5 times to target enemy and dispel all buffs on them and inflict target lock for 2 turns, which can't be resisted. Each instance of damage reduces the target's defense by 5% for the rest of the encounter, which can't be resisted, and rebel allies gain 5% turn meter for each critical hit. The special number 2. All rebel allies recover 20% health and protection and gain speed up and tenacity up for 1 turn. All rebel allies' download progress is increased by 20%. And download, which is kind of the new special thing with the Outrider. Progress starts at 0% and is increased by 1% whenever a rebel ally scores a critical hit, tripled if it's during their turn, and it requires 100% download progress to activate. On the unique, Outrider gains 60% critical chance and the granted ability data transmission until it is defeated. Data transmission, the granted ability, you can only use it once per battle. And also it requires the 100% download progress in order to use it. You dispel all debuffs on all rebel allies, and they recover 50% health and protection. Grant all rebel allies Suprosa Supercomputer for the rest of the encounter, which can't be copied, dispelled, or resisted. And Suprosa Supercomputer gain 100% critical chance and additional bonus based on the ship's roll. Attackers, at the start of the turn, dispel stealth and taunt from all enemies and inflict defense down for 1 turn on a random enemy. Tanks, all rebel allies recover 10% health and protection whenever this ship receives damage. And supports, at the start of turn, inflict target lock for 2 turns and remove 20% turn meter from a random enemy. And for the reinforcements, when you enter the battle, all rebel allies gain 20% download progress for each rebel reinforcement called in by the allied rebel capital ship this encounter, and the Outrider gains critical damage up for 1 turn. So, what was your thoughts on the Outrider?
Well, I love ships, so more ships is a good thing. That, and it just got me thinking, I wonder if they're trying to prep the rebel faction for maybe another ship, another capital ship.
That's what I was thinking.
Because,
exactly.
and because like, let me pull up the game, because I think like if you look at like the Empire faction as a whole, there's enough to like do 1 full fleet and then like a side fleet. But like the rebels, let me actually pull it up. How many?
I got Swog up right now. Or
I pulled it up. So
9 ships, which is the most of
yeah,
any fleet, and it sucks because I would say all of the rebel ships are actually fairly decent.
yeah,
It's just that you need like 4 or 5 rebel ships at the most.
yeah.
And so the thing is like Phantom, Wedge, Ghost, even Y-Wing to an extent, you just don't use them because there's just never a time where like rebel battles are just like they're kind of like troopers in a way where just like you go in and you do a ton of damage real quick, and if you can't win in that opening kind of barrage, then the battle's over, and that's pretty much how it goes.
Pretty much. But like, hang on, I got it pulled up on my computer. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6, 7 rebels now. I mean, 6, 7 Empire. But like, you also have like a couple of Sith that I think Maul synergizes with Empire, if I'm not mistaken. I thought something was in. He has something. I thought he had like a unique. Oh, he doesn't have a unique at all. Okay. Let me see. Oh no. I mean, he doesn't have any. He has some Sith synergy, so he would synergize pretty well with like the TIE Advance, the shuttle. But I mean, it's getting to a point to where you almost can make 2 full fleets of rebels, and I mean, even just plugging in. This is not going to be bad to just plug in Outrider with whatever is. I don't know what would be the best. At that point, that'd be 5. Whatever your best 5 rebels are. Keep the others for something else. I don't know.
So I think the idea, and I think the consensus of what came out is with the Outrider, since it is faster than Biston, because Biston was traditionally, if you were able to, now the kicker was you had to gear up Scarif Rebel Pathfinder and Biston to gear 13 and Relics. If you did that, Biston is fantastic because he goes first and starts the turn meter train. However, it requires gearing up characters you wouldn't necessarily normally use. And the Outrider is actually faster than Biston's ship. And especially Dash is a much. I would just, yeah, Dash is a better character. So you could gear up the Outrider. And for the most part, it looked like it did pretty much the same stuff that Biston did. So as of right now, you could prevent going for Biston and just go for the Outrider. But I don't really think that really moves the needle, though. Like, if you're using Rebels like that, I think, like, I don't know. I'm with you. I think there's another Rebel capital ship in the works, and this is just kind of the first step with it.
Yeah, that was kind of my thinking. But that and just it looks like this is an obvious upgrade over Biston anyway. Other than like, I mean, the speed boost. Yeah, obviously, yes, the speed boost is great, but just kit wise, this is probably
Well,
gonna be
the thing though with Biston is that Biston's the main damage dealer in the Rebel team, though. So
true.
you get more durability with the Rebel fleet, and you kind of like but you also lose turn meter gain because Biston, whenever someone gets target locked, someone gains 35% turn meter, and then Biston, when he's stealthed, has plus 20% critical damage and ignores defense. So Biston's out here. He pulled, and on top of that, whenever you kill someone, Biston and the ally who killed the enemy gain turn meter as well. So it's I don't know. I'm I personally like I run Rebels a lot. I use them in Grand Arena. I have a Gear 13 Biston and SRP, but I don't use the Outrider just because it does exactly what Biston does, and I already have Biston, so it's cool. But I would say this is for right now. I think this is gonna be great for people who don't have Biston's U-wing up and running, and they'd rather invest in this.
Yeah. All right. Guess we can go ahead and move on to the proving grounds. I guess let's just go ahead and read whatever it says and then give our thoughts on it.
Yeah. So
That
proving grounds. So basically, this is going to be um, their new dumping spot for conquest characters. So after a year, they will now come to the proving grounds, which is an event which will come around once a month, and it'll allow you to get their shards for free as long as you meet the prerequisites. So the requirements is you must not already own the unit at 7 stars. You must not already own enough shards to 7-star the unit. So if you have 330 or above, you can't do it. And once you obtain the unit at 7 stars or have enough shards to 7-star the unit, they will no longer be accessible. This is not meant to be a source for shard stop currency. This is an opportunity to get characters that were once exclusive to Conquest. The Razor Crest will also be in the Proving Grounds, and they will not be removing it from fleet shipments. So it's good. We can double dip with the Razor Crest. And in the Proving Grounds, you can earn 20 shards for the character or ship by beating the appropriate tier each time the event comes up. And while the event is up, you can spend crystals to refresh and clear it a limited amount of times. And unfortunately, they do not specify how much it will cost to refresh or how many times we can refresh.
I'm I would just assume 1,200 crystals because that seems to be kind of either anywhere from like 700 to 1,200 crystals is what I would have to guess.
I would say because, like, so let's just take into account, like, the Executor. To refresh the Executor event is 999 crystals. So I would say we're probably, like you said, I think we're looking at the ballpark of something like that. Which units can you
That
use in the Proving Grounds? You are going to need the base requirement to participate for a unit is Relic 3, but you will be able to use any unit you own that meets that requirement. And will they be adding more units? Yes, they will be. It is the location for players to earn specific units over time, but at initial release, Commander Sokotano and Razor Crest will be the only 2 units available. So I'm guessing Maul and Boba Fett Cyanogenga will be added there, and also the TIE Interceptor once it comes to a year. But yeah, so what do you think here about this?
so if they use this as like, for example, they throw in like Cat whenever it's her time to become farmable. If they take her and just stick her here, I'm gonna be pissed. But if they give Cat like the Razor Crest treatment where she's in like I'm just speculating. I don't know where they would put Cat, but I'm gonna guesstimate that she'll be get one or get two, something like that. And just in this hypothetical, let's say she's get two. If they don't throw her as like a get two character, and but she's only in the proving grounds, I'm gonna be mad. But if there's like two ways to get the character, and this is just like a little boost, I'm not mad about this at all. This is 20 free shards a month. I mean, this is one of those things where you can be like, oh, I really want them all, but I don't play Conquest super serious. Like myself, like I don't play Conquest super serious. I think like this last Conquest I got like the fourth crate. And so now I can sit there and be like, all right, I'll skip out on Boba Sana Django. I'll wait my year and then he'll become unlockable and then I'll unlock him a little bit faster. That's just kind of my thoughts on it. But oh, excuse me. But if they treat this like the only way to get the character after they get out of the conquest store, then I'm kind of ticked off.
Yeah.
I'm not too.
So when I'm thinking about it, so every month we have a new conquest, um, and so you'll be able to use your conquest shards to get, the characters that you want. You also have them for crystals that are there. So you're getting at least 20 a month, which is basically like buying it 4 times in the conquest store. Or so like at the current rate, so what is it? It's 600 for 5 shards.
I think I think so. Actually, let me check.
Because
Let me.
if we were to go by that logic, that's 2,400 crystals you could save by waiting. And then you could even save like you do for like these events. You could save your crystals and refresh it depending on how good the because again, if it costs like 2,000 crystals to refresh, that's gonna suck. But if it's something like 1,000 crystals, 1,200 crystals, I'm not gonna lie. I think I might just save my crystals here and just do this a couple of times. Um, I think I'm kind of with you. I would like if there's another place where you could buy this for other currency, like get one, get two, or like
I'm
an absurd amount of Galactic War, or like an absurd amount of Cantina or Guild currency, like
yeah, like
20
make it
20,000,
50,000 a buy or
50,000,
something like that.
something, yeah, something like that. I could see that, but yeah, it's one of those things that it doesn't hurt.
Yeah. Um, for buying it from the canteen, from buying it from the conquest store, it is 5 shards for 60. And then if you're in the shipments, it's 4 for 480.
Okay.
So quick little good old calculator real quick.
But
Uh,
especially if the event's fun, and especially you're doing something for it, I don't really have a problem with it. And especially like I'm like halfway. I'm at like 190 out of 330 for Cat, so this will be nice. I don't really have a pressing need for her, so I'll be
yeah.
able to get her progressively. I might even do a refresh or two, but it's one of those. It'll be nice. I can get her, and if I need to, I can save my crystals and just refresh the event a bunch of times. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, this is a good update.
Yeah. And then let's get on to, do you want to do the Inquisitorius update plus future plans, or do you want to do the fifth brother?
Let's do the fifth brother, and then we'll jump into like the Grand Inquisitor and
Yeah.
all that.
Okay.
So
I read a little bit on his kit. I kind of like it so far.
you know what,
Just a quick.
The Inquisitors are kind of warming up to me right now. I'm excited to see what the new update is with them, but even if like this is what they're at, this this is a team. That there's something. Um, so fifth brother, he is going to be a dark side support leader, Empire, Inquisitorius, and unaligned Force user. He is a powerful Inquisitor that specializes in supporting the purge of all Jedi by applying devastating debuffs. So on the basic. Now, we love our new community helper, CG Tuscan Meathead, but Homie has some stuff he needs to specify in here, so we'll see how it looks in game. But here we go. On the basic, deal special damage to target enemy. If the target is debuffed, inflict a stack of purge. If the enemy is a Jedi, inflict another stack of purge. Inflict tenacity down for 2 turns. We love tenacity down on the basic. That is really nice.
Yeah, and 2 turn
2 turns.
tenacity down.
And these
That's
debuffs
very rare.
cannot be resisted. So that's nice. Can't be resisted. So you're guaranteed, if you're going up against Jedi, to put 2 stacks of purge on them. Special number 1. Dispel all buffs, inflict defense down for 2 turns, then deal special damage to all enemies. So this is nice. I believe because of this by default can't be evaded. Or actually, it can be evaded, but it will go through foresight if this is correct. Because you dispel the buffs first. Dispel all buffs, inflict defense down, then deal special damage to all enemies. Inflict a stack of purge on all enemies. If this target already had purge, inflict expose for 2 turns. Grant all allies potency up for 2 turns, and these debuffs can't be resisted. His special
Real quick, before you go to the special 2, it just says dispel all buffs. It doesn't specify enemy or ally. So is he just going to get rid of all the buffs? And
I would say this is because when it talks about deal special damage to all allies, I would say this is going to be a mass buff dispel. If I'm reading this correctly, this is
yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. But I wish they would specify a little bit more.
Special number 2. This is a Zeta, and I'll give my guesstimate on where the Zeta is. Deal special damage to target enemy and inflict vulnerable for 2 turns. For each stack of purge on the target, all Inquisitorious allies gain 10% protection up stacking for 2 turns. If the target has at least 3 stacks of purge, gain damage immunity for 1 turn, stun target for 1 turn, and if the target was a Jedi, inflict fear on all non-Jedi enemies for 1 turn, which can't be copied, dispelled, evaded, or resisted. I'm guessing the Zeta is going to be either for the, I would like it to be just for the fear, but I have a feeling it's going to be for that whole last clause of, if the target has at least 3, the damage stun. I think it's going to be all of that, but they did say that this was meant to counter Shock T, which this is obvious so far that this is meant for Shock T, but I could potentially see Gas being countered by his kit so far.
I'm thinking JMK with Cat because Cat's not a Jedi.
Yeah.
So
the leader ability here, final text. Empire allies gain 5% defense and max health. Inquisitorious allies gain an additional 30% defense and max health. If the leader is a Jedi, inflict a stack of purge on the leader and all non-Jedi enemies at the start of the battle, stacking max of 6, which can't be resisted. And whenever purge is consumed or dispelled on non-Jedi enemies, they lose 3% speed, stacking max of 18%. As the encounter. Whenever an ally Inquisitorious uses a special ability, apply a stack of purge on target enemy, which can't be evaded or resisted. And of course, here's the 5th Territory War Omicron. If the enemy leader is a Jedi, excluding Galactic Legends, Jedi leader abilities that grant bonus speed to non-Jedi allies additionally remove 70 speed. And whenever a non-Jedi enemy gains Retribution, dispel Retribution and instead inflict Expose for 2 turns, which can't be resisted. Whenever an enemy gains bonus turn meter, Inquisitorious allies gain 15% turn meter limit once per turn. So removing, I think this is, the 70, I think, is for Shock T gives 35 to clones. So this just kind of does the opposite. They lose 35. However, this is going to work with Cat too. If you're running JMK lead, Cat's going to lose 70 speed, which that's huge. And especially since this team is super fast, when I'm pulling up the Inquisitors, we will see how fast the 5th brother is, but I would imagine he is going to be, 8th brother 186, 9th sister 167, 2nd sister 186, 7th sister 186. I mean, I could imagine if he's, even if he's above 167, this is a fast faction, and taking 70 speed off Cat is really she may not be able to get her insta kill off.
No.
So Unique. Well, let's finish up his kit and then we'll get into it. Um, at the start of the battle, if all allies are Inquisitorious, Fifth Brother has 100% counter chance. Recover 5% health and protection whenever an enemy attacks at a turn. If the enemy leader is a Jedi, whenever a non Jedi enemy gains bonus turn meter, inflict Provoked on them for 1 turn, which can't be resisted. Whenever a Jedi uses a basic ability during their turn, they are inflicted with Breach at the end of their turn. And Provoked, it is going to be a new debuff. The Provoked plus 100% counter chance. This character deals 90% less damage when attacking at a turn. Whenever this character attacks at a turn, it takes damage equal to 15% of its max health, and this damage can't defeat enemies. And there are a few FAQs here that they did put in. So on his second special, is it just the fear that can't be copied, dispelled, evaded, resisted, or does that clause extend to the stun he inflicts or the damage immunity? So it is only just the fear that can't be copied, dispelled, all that. The stun and damage immunity, I believe, will the damage immunity will be applied, but it can be dispelled, and I believe the stun can be resisted. So you do need to have some potency to do all that. On his unique, does he regain health and protection from enemies attacking at a turn if the leader isn't a Jedi? The Fifth Brother gains health and protection whenever any enemy attacks at a turn. And can Provoked be dispelled, as it is coded as the opposite of Retribution for things like GK and Bays reversing buffs and debuffs. Yes, it can be dispelled, and no, it is not the opposite of Retribution. So, what is your thoughts here on the Fifth Brother?
His leader's probably the best out of the four, just in like general type use, because it's got a lot of non-Jedi enemies when a lot of the other leads are super niche counters to a specific Jedi leader. And this one just seems to be like if I built up all five, I would probably go for this leader first, just because I'm going to be able to get more use out of it.
It's also nice because you're getting like all the other Inquisitor has like, oh, there's a 40% chance to get like additional purge on the basic, whereas this one, if you use a special, like guaranteed stack of purge, which is really nice. I think there is some. I mean, I think pretty much Shakti clones is just dead. Like if you're running this lead, like Shakti clones is getting wrecked. I think this could even work against gas. Like if you have all of your Inquisitors like up to snuff, like this is a. I think this could work versus gas, because let's not use the Omicron. Let's just, because I would say most people, until news comes out, no one's going to be applying the Omicrons necessarily. So pretty much, you're putting Provoked on. You're putting it on fives. You're putting it on Arc Trooper, and I mean pretty much on all the clones, because if Rex does his form up, they gain bonus turn meter. So now Echo, whenever he attacks at a turn, he's going to be taking max health damage every single time, and like also he's going to deal 90% less damage. That's going to kill Echo attacking at a turn. And especially like Fifth Brother's going to be tanky. The fear is nice. I think this is nice. I think like especially like if you think early game, and this is when I kind of started to warm up to the Inquisitors even before the Grand Inquisitor. I mean, you got to think early game. You're seeing Jedi more often because a lot of people, that's the first teams that they build up, and it's nice to have, you know, a team that's going to be mainly hard, like just a regular marquee team that you can use to take out Jedi Knight Revan. You can use to take out Shakti clones. You can use if, you know, they throw a General Kenobi in there. I don't know. I would say by far of the Inquisitors, this one and like Ninth Sister, the tank, are my favorites so far.
Yeah, I would agree. I'm kind of liking the Fifth Brother just because of his lead. That's really all I like about him so far. I think this is the first time in game where we've had a mass buff dispel that is also an attack that deals damage and puts down debuffs.
Mm-hmm.
That's and it gives buffs too. I didn't realize that either.
Yeah.
Basically it's a his first special is just like a jack of all trades special. So yeah, we want to go to the Inquisitors update and then on to questions.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm that is let's do that here. I'm just double checking in case CG pulled a fast one, which they have not. So here we go. The Inquisitorious updates. So, basically, what is happening now? We now have 5 Inquisitors, and as a way to, I would say now, entice people to farm up the Inquisitors, they're actually going to be adding a new unique ability to this team. And I'm guessing once the Grand Inquisitor is announced, that unique ability will be added, or it could be coming with the fifth brother. They have not said yet. But there's going to be a new unique ability that I think is really going to tie this faction together. Because as of right now, like, you can see where this is going, but it's definitely they're missing kind of the cherry on top that really makes this good. And also, they're going to be making the Inquisitors a much more staple faction in the game. So we're now going to be seeing some feats in Conquest that are going to be Inquisitor related. There's going to be a new assault battle designed specifically around the Inquisitors. There's going to be new Galactic Challenge modifiers for the Inquisitors. So we'll have some Inquisitor Galactic Challenges. And then there will be a legendary event for the Grand Inquisitor. And with that, we will need 5 Inquisitorious people at Relic 5. And they did put in parentheses with the first run of the events there are only 5, so you will need all of them. I have a feeling there might be more, so we can pick and choose what 5 we want. But as of right now, we just have these 5. The Grand Inquisitor event will only be active for a short period of time, so if you miss the initial offering, you will need to wait until it is active again. And basically, they said going forward, we're going to be seeing a change to legendary events because the Grand Inquisitor. They're saying that with his Omicrons, he will be able to challenge Galactic Legends. That is why they're raising the power tier to Relic 5 in order to do this, much like the Starkiller event. So, yeah, what are your thoughts here on the Inquisitorious update and the Grand Inquisitor?
I mean, it kind of seems like this is the natural like this is what's going to tie all these random characters that we've been getting into a legendary. I also like how they went back to the old legendary of here's an event, you do the event for 7 days and now it's gone. So I don't know. A lot of people hated that, but I kind of like it just because it's going to stop people from I don't know, just being able to I don't know how I'm trying to word this, but I don't know, just like a mass amount of people getting it at once. It's just going to be there's just going to be a bunch of people unlocking it, kind of like Executor.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people unlocked it day one, and then I don't know, it just there's a lot of theory crafting and that stuff like that.
Basically, the whales have their fun for a little bit, and then the
Yeah,
rest of us mortals get it, and life
yeah.
carries on.
I mean, yeah, that kind of sucks for the average Joe, but I mean, we got to keep this game alive for a little bit longer, so I don't mind it.
It'll be whale food, and then we'll all have it. I think it kind of sucks. I mean, like, Relic 5 is one of those, I think, especially for early game, that kind of sucks. But at the same time, I don't think this is early game content. This is really kind of more mid to end game content. And with the way that they've been transitioning things, Relic 5, like, Gear 12 used to be the standard, then Gear 13. And I think now Relic 5 is just the new standard. I mean, shoot, for C-Pit, you need Relic 5 characters just to attempt it. And I would say for, like, Lightside Geo, your characters need to be at a minimum of Relic 5 just to be able to stay alive. I think this is just the way things are. And, Relic 5, at this point in the game, with how things are, it's not that difficult to get to. But that's just me.
Yeah. One second. I'm in the game real quick. I'm trying to see where they put all of the Inquisitors. So like they put the Ninth Sister on a 12 energy node. So that's kind of early game. I'm trying to see if they made it kind of an early game accessible faction. I'm just
Yeah,
Eighth Brother is not in a node.
and I believe it's just the second sister, which is a 12 energy
12
hard
energy.
node.
Yeah, also 12 energy. I thought they gave the seventh sister a node, but yeah, no, she's in the Chromium packs now. Okay, that's what it is. Yeah, it's pretty, free to play accessible. And I guess it's one of those things where it's like you could go and this honestly wouldn't be a very bad farming route early game, especially if Seventh Sister and Fifth Brother both get like I would love for them to throw one of them on like a Cantina node early, just for early game players,
Like
and then
a 10 or a 12 energy Cantina node.
yeah, yeah. Even I mean, they could even be nice and give us an 8 energy node. I mean, I don't think they would do that, but a 10 energy node wouldn't be bad. And then shoot, I mean, I would also wouldn't mind them doing like a very early ship node, like one of those first that like round that like zone one of ships wouldn't be the worst thing.
Um,
Just to kind of mix it up. But then again, it
I saw
never.
we're about to jump into some podcast questions, but since we're on the topic and DNL's in the chat here with us, he asked, "Do y'all think the Inquisitors will make Lord Vader better?" I'm gonna be honest, I don't think so. Lord Vader, what all does he need to do though? Because like his current team can already beat JMK Cat, and I think the Inquisitors will, they'll help with that. They'll do that, but I think I think he was designed to be with Maul, so I think like you can throw Inquisitors with him and Maul, but I think that like him and Maul are the ones that really need to be together with it. I think they'll help because they'll definitely like ramp up his ultimate even more because they're unaligned force users. But I think they'll help, but I don't think they're going to be like meta breaking or anything.
Yeah, I think I would have to agree with that. Also, DNL, this probably isn't going to be a very good team for CPIT because teams that are just debuff heavy are they just suck.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sure that there is, especially with the tenacity down for 2 turns, phase one. I still even then. I mean,
The thing is that
still not
like
going to be.
the with CPIT with like how fast the Rancor goes, and especially like
Yeah,
it's not even like this team was a turn meter team anyways. I You kind of need a lot of burst damage, which I think this team is more of a control team.
yeah,
Um, which again, it'll be great in territory wars and Grand Arena, but I don't think it's going to be a raid team.
yeah. I would have to agree. I mean, like you got to think like their whole gimmick is like getting purge out on the field, and without tenacity down, it's going to be very hard to do that.
And
But this team
especially
does
when
have,
like Purge is meant to like a lot of it's like unresistible by Jedi. And hey, go ahead if you gonna do it. I'm looking forward to the show me that 25% video. I'm looking for it.
all right, we want to go ahead and jump into the
Yeah,
questions.
we got a lot of them, so I'm gonna make sure we
Yeah,
get
where do we start?
I
Was it
I think it's the
Chimera
Chimera
versus
versus
Executor?
Executrix. Yeah, Chimera versus Executrix.
Yeah. Uh, huh. That's a tough one. I think now with the new TIE Interceptor, it's got to be Chimera's better,
Mm-hmm.
but Executrix is just better overall. Chimera
Yeah,
is more of like a niche, while Executrix is probably more just like broader, I would say.
I would say because like so Executrix is nice because it's faster, and the turn meter that you gain from the Tarkin ability, it's nice. But at the same time, like the offense boost has to be from debuffed enemies, whereas Chimera just gives you flat like 80% critical damage. I personally prefer Chimera, but it's one of those that Executrix is still it's not like the gap between Chimera and Executrix is not the same as like Mace and the Endurance versus the Negotiator. Like the Negotiator is like leagues above better than the Endurance. Whereas I would say like the Executor or the Executrix and the Chimera is like kind of a toss up. Like they're it's kind of whatever. It depends, I think, really on matchups or what ships you're feeling.
Ah. Bowser, how viable are Home Run and Radis? I think that's Home Run. Home One is probably one of the. Oh, excuse me. I don't know. I'm
I
just
would argue it's a top like it's definitely in the upper
four.
half. It's like it's in the
A
upper
top.
half of
It's a
ships.
top five.
Yeah, it's like I would argue it's obviously it's the get two fleets and the Executor at the top. I would say now the home one is tied with the TIE Interceptor Chimera. Like those are the next best fleets there. Like I would
Yeah.
say if you are going to be in high Erodium or Kyber, like you need a really good home one fleet. It's like it's essential.
Yeah.
Radis, Radis is. I mean, Radis has its thing. It's not a bad fleet. I think that the bomber definitely helps it. I've definitely seen some times where people like send some garbage where they don't necessarily take it seriously, and it's a solid fleet. But I would say it's going to be in the bottom half of fleets.
Yeah. I had a person in my shard that ran Radis, and they ran it with they went with like I'm trying to think who it was. They did the tie bomber. They did Razor Crest. It was a 7-star R5 Razor Crest, and then their fifth was Han and Chewie. And with my with my negotiator fleet, I was struggling. It was like a very weird combination of the three, and I just couldn't. I like it. I just timed out. Like like it's Redis is pretty solid if you put the right stuff with it. But the problem is you don't want to break any of those fleets up for it. So the one true Morty, or I'll just say Morty. Do you think Conquest was at a better place these last 3 rounds? Do you expect it to continue in the easier direction, bounce the difficulty back up, or stay where it was the last three rounds? Also, next Conquest character speculation.
So
So
yeah, so this last TIE Interceptor one, I liked it. I'm a fan of Conquest. I think my main issue, and I think everyone's issue with it, is the feats should represent your time spent in the mode, and not be based on like you know should not be based like so they designed this mode to be something that uses all of your roster, and unfortunately you're not, because of like some of the mechanics in it, you really can't use all of your roster. um, you end up kind of using some of the same teams, and until you get to a point where you have a really large roster, I would like to see less of the like win 14 times with this team. I don't mind or like the 50 kills ones. I don't those ones aren't as bad as the win 14 times. So like let's just take the Inquisitors. I don't mind if they put like a win with X character in your lineup 20 times. Like the Boba Fett and Mando ones. I don't mind that one, and that's the theme of the Conquest. It's kind of like how GAC was. You just have to win. What I don't like is like win with this full lineup, or like dodge this many times, or things like that. I think it should be more on like gain foresight this many times, gain defense up, or attempt to land these debuffs, or things like that. The feats shouldn't be difficult to get necessarily. They should be something that's a little bit of a challenge that you have to think about, but nothing that just sucks the soul out of you. And as I like it, but it is soul sucking.
yeah, I would have to agree. Like I for the basically for the first week I'm playing every day and I do one refresh, but then after that first week of Conquest, I'm just burnt out and I'll skip every other day on that last week.
So
And
for
so
my expectation, um, conquest. So like this last, so the Sign of Django one, we had a Fennec feat where you had to win with Boba Fett and Fennec. For this one, there wasn't anything that was quite as bad, but we did have some like Empire themed ones. I would bet. I don't think that they're going to have a win with a full lineup of um, of Inquisitors, but I think that we're gonna see like win with one or two Inquisitors or land purge 50 times. I could see something like that. Um, but I would say I like the difficulty of this conquest. I think this is what it is now. Um, I would obviously like to still see improvements, but if it stayed at what it's at, I don't mind this. But I'm also a conquest simp, so
Personally, I wish that they would. I wish that each like sector had like a couple less individual battles, and then maybe just like I don't know, bump like if the requirement was like the win with like a team 14 times in a zone, like bump that down to like 10.
yeah,
Like I just think I think it's too much of a grind considering when they always run Conquest the same time as Lightside Geo and the same time as GAC. And so you have this huge like time suck in the middle of probably the two most important game modes in the game. So like it just I don't know. I just feel like it needs to be just a tiny bit less of a grind.
yeah.
Um, Next question from Litha.
Or
Thought. Oh well,
we forgot to
yeah.
do the
No, go back to 40. Yeah. Thoughts on new character? I honestly don't know where they could go with the next one, and I mean,
I could see a conquest babysitter for any of the previous GLs. I think probably for like resistance. I could see like Zori. I could see that. I could also see for the first order, I could see Snoke. I could also see them go with another ship. I could see like Red 5.
yeah,
Um, I don't know. I'm actually I don't know what the next conquest character is going to be. I was shocked when it was the TIE Interceptor, and I've loved the TIE Interceptor so far. But I don't know what they're going to do. So I'm really excited. I would imagine we're going to get that news tomorrow because we're either going to have news that Conquest is delayed, or we're going to get news of the new character tomorrow because the update should be for tomorrow. And if all is going according to plan, we should have Conquest on Monday.
yeah. Um, Honestly, for me, like, I honestly wouldn't want to see like a new babysitter GL for like the old ones, just because they're. I kind of would hate that, just because like that would really change the meta a lot. But then again, I don't know where they could go. Like Red 5 would be interesting. I actually would kind of prefer a ship, but I would really love one kind of I wouldn't mind like an Ebon Hawk type ship, just something that's just super plug and play, real neutral, can go with really any ship, just kind of like another plug and play ship that we can use with the First Order, with Radis, with Empire, with just some of these factions that need like an extra ship or something.
What I thought was interesting was what if Red 5 doesn't need a capital ship?
Ooh,
And he's got like stupid amounts of synergy with like Wedge and Biggs and something like that. I thought that could be interesting. Um, but we'll see what happens. But that, yeah,
character wise, I'll say real quick. Character wise, I don't know where they could go with it, just because like
yeah,
I'll be honest, the Boba Silent Django, that was like left field for me. Like I did not expect that.
no, neither
And
did I.
so like now I'm at a point where I'm like, man, now that like when they threw Boba in there, they just really threw us for a loop, because now like we could literally see like a Jar Jar Binks. Like like they literally could throw anything out there that they want, and that's what Conquest characters can be now, is just like random tunes, just stuff that they want to see in the game. So Litho, thoughts on a new layout? This kind of comes back to the Conquest character. I mean, they could also just do like a new like you said, like they could do like a resistance Leia, or they could do like kind of like an indoor Leia as well.
I think if they're
But
gonna do I think if they're gonna do a conquest Leia, it's going to be resistance Leia. I think Endor Leia's a GL. I think that's Leia. We need a goods, and not just like Omicron goods. Like we need a good version of Leia,
Yeah.
and I think if they're ever going to do a Rebel GL, it's going to be Leia. So if they're going to do like old Leia, I can see that being a conquest character. But yeah, that's what I would think.
Yeah. Bowser again. Kind of a weird question, but since Bad Batch is starting to get accelerated, and that means more people are going to build them, do you think this could mean a kind of new era of the game where we see Bad Batch more? I'm talking GAC, TB, Territory Wars, Squadron, yada yada yada. Since it's established and they're a really strong team in their popularity, could this be mean something important for the game's meta, or it's just another good high tiered team that people need to fight now? I'm if I didn't have other stuff to farm, I would have been farming Bad Batch for like the past however many months. They're just that good.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think they're so like with Bad Batch. I think the only thing that's stopping them from being like hands down the best early team to farm is you need 2,000 Kairos just
yeah,
for the four. However, I would actually argue from I've seen enough footage now. A full five team of Bad Batch is superior to Shaak Ti clones for the cam mission. Um, there's less RNG in the runs from what I've seen. However, it's harder to get those teams farmed up. But I mean, shoot,
yeah.
like Bad Batch is already they're a staple for Grand Arena. They're a staple in Lightside Geo. Territory Wars they're great, and even Conquest too. Like they're a great team in Conquest. I don't know about raids. I don't think they're a great raid team. I saw
Eh.
some stuff with like them and Ray, but like not anything that great. But like, yeah, they're like you said. This is a top 10, definitely a top five like non-legendary team. Like this is a must-have team in the game.
I would say it's a top three defensive team in the game right now.
Absolutely.
Because for the most part, like I think the cheapest thing that I've seen someone use to take out Bad Batch was Ewoks, but they had the Omnicron and they had like a shoot, I think that it was like a 310 speed Papalu, and that was before the speed buff from uh Chirpa. Yeah. Yeah. So it was like almost like a 370 speed Papalu. And I was like, yeah, that's ridiculous. No one in their right mind's gonna like have that as a reliable like like that's just kind of unreal.
Yeah.
uh CLS is a good counter, but like see like pulling stuff like that and then you throw like a gas but like if you're in GAC, you throw a Bad Batch in the front wall and then they're like, oh, I'll just CLS this Bad Batch, and then now you kept your gas in the back wall. Now I'm like, oh well, shit. Now I don't have anything to take out this gas. So yeah, I would thoroughly agree to build it up. I mean, even at low stars, it's pretty good too. So
Yeah.
that's another thing to keep out for. Uh, Relius, what teams would Farm Boy Luke be seen in for Territory War? We kind of already discussed it, but like Wedge lead would be good. I
Wedge
mean,
lead, you can throw. I mean, you could throw him in with CLS, but I think
yeah,
that's overkill. I think wedge lead, just so you can make a new team.
yeah. That and like you also could probably like since we got Inquisitorius now, I mean, I don't know if they're going to be a good defensive team, but in the event that they do get put on defense, you can always do Rolo lead, which is the biggest anti-Empire lead we have in the game.
Yeah.
And I mean, that probably won't happen, but I'm just kind of, going with that. Lorian, how pumped are you for Red 5? I think we should say that with a little bit of uh they recently like removed the Red 5 model as like a placeholder for like ships. Was that I think that was something that happened recently.
Or it was
And
the it
so a
was
lot of people
the A wing.
yeah, and so a lot of people are now like, oh, it's Red 5 coming now, so I don't know. Until there's a little bit more solid evidence, I'll have to wait on that one. Relius again. So Akbar and Leia both have Grand Arena Omnis. How long do you think before we have a full team of Omnis with synergy for an area of the game? Uh,
Ooh, it's gonna be a
yeah,
while. It's gonna be a while before
yeah.
that happens.
And I really wouldn't want to see a full team of Omnicrons just because, like,
I mean,
that just
that's where the Inquisitors are going right now.
yeah, but they're all on their leads, so you can't use them all at the same time.
Well, unless that's what the Grand Inquisitor does, is he?
Yeah, then if he does that, that's gonna be broken. That's gonna be broken. That's that I don't even want to wrap my mind around that. That's just going to be so much just like understanding like a bunch of these random kits. That's all right. Uh Art, a new Rebel Geo on the way, or maybe a new Rebel capital ship with a new character at the helm.
I think it's
Um
capital ship.
yeah, I think I want to go capital ship, but we are we are due for a new GL soon. So but then again, they're throwing out the. I think the next big character coming out is going to be the Grand Inquisitor, and then after the Grand Inquisitor is probably going to be a GL. So,
Yeah,
but I would say we get a new Rebel ship before a new GL.
I think so.
Um, Relius.
You want to jump to Obi's question?
Yeah, let's jump to Obi's question. He was just kind of responding to it. Likelihood of Nihilus's Ravager capital ship. I
Uh,
don't think it's coming.
I don't think it's coming. I think that was one of those. They either threw that just to like solidify the one leak as just a leak. I
Yeah,
I don't. I'm not gonna lie. That would be random if we got the Ravager.
yeah, because I mean, we would have to with that, I think if you get the Ravager, you would have to throw in a couple old Republic ships with it. So like
Yeah,
it's just like another one of the uh, First Order and Resistance fleets. You just give us a half done fleet. Like why would we want to unlock a half done fleet?
I would rather them give the Rebel ships so I can actually like use my Rebel ships and not like have these ones in the bench. Because I would say as of right now, every fleet is using all of their ships. I think with the exception of like a few Empire or a few Galactic Republic. More often than not, it's just like it's Ghost, Phantom, Wedge, and like some of these ships that are just chilling. They're not being used. So, yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Uh, Next question from Slay. Do you think Galactic Challenges should have a higher tier of difficulty with the GL that matches a faction? For example, a Galactic Republic squad with JMK Cat, it may give 3 or 4 omnis and better rewards overall. In this hypothetical, world, would these would come once a month or so, or would that be too overwhelming? Honestly, I wouldn't mind a tougher GAC or a tougher not GAC, but a tougher Galactic Challenge, just like once a month, just something that's just like ridiculously hard. Where it's like there's sometimes where like some of these missions where it's like the one this that we got this go. I literally done it in 2 battles. It was when with the full squad of separatists, and then when without a leader, and then when without a tank. And it was like I could have gotten that done all in one go.
Hmm.
And like the teams we were facing were it wasn't even that tough of a team. It probably took me 15-20 minutes of my time, and I was done for the next 3 days. And so it'd be nice to just like every once in a while just throw in like, especially since that's where Omnicrons are coming from. It'd be nice to throw in like a really tough one where, I mean, you still will be able to get your 2 Omnicrons if you get the 8th box, but or like maybe they sit there and they say, oh, at the 6th box you get your 2 Omnicrons, but they make it like really tough where you basically have to use a GL and swap mods. Like I really wouldn't mind something like that.
I think if they're gonna, I think they might eventually do that, but I think it's got to be something where there is so many Omicrons in the game that it doesn't matter that they give us that many more.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think we're at that point yet. It's going to be a bit of time before we're there.
I think we're slowly getting to that point because I mean, how many Omnicrons are in the game now? I would like if I did like a quick guess, I would say like at least 30. Actually, hang on. Let me pull up good old where is Omnicron report? There it is. About the count real quick. Just
So let's see.
14 in Grand Arena, 4 in territory battles. It's 18, and then 1, 2, 3. 17 in territory
So
war.
that's 35.
Yeah, so there's 35 now. I mean,
I think we need to
granted,
see. I think we need to see 100 before,
100. Whew.
or like 85 or something before they go into
Yeah,
that. Because like I mean like even like I think like when they get to the point like where Zetas are right now, I think that's when they
yeah,
switch it up.
yeah. But even then, like, I wouldn't mind it for like just the extra. Like, sometimes I find myself not having a lot of those. Whatchamacallits, the new slicing mats for the mods. I always find myself not having enough.
Mm.
So, I mean, I would like it just for the fact that you'd be getting more of those too. So,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know.
that'd be nice.
Maybe they throw some R9 mats in there, make it worth our while. I don't know.
Now, while we're here, if there is anyone in the audience who would like to come up and ask a question, feel free. You raise your hand, and we'll let you come up and ask a question.
Yeah. Or if not, you can throw it in the podcast text.
Or yeah, throw
Either
in the
one.
podcast text.
Either way.
But I think that's all the pre-recorded questions that we got.
Yeah.
Um, so while we wait, what have you been farming? It's been a while.
Oh, it has been. I am on my junior account. I'm almost done with the executive requirements. Let me pull up my phone real quick just to see. So I think I'm at 82 out of 100 shards for the IG 2000. I'm about 50 for the bomber. I'm about 50 for Razor Crest, but and after that, it's not much. Oh, I have. Let me see. I got IG88 to Relic 2, and I could probably right now spend the I don't know 500 to 1,000 crystals to just get them to R5, but I'll just take it slow for now. No need to rush. I'm at 82 of 100 on the IG 2000, and then let me see the bomber. Bomber is 49 out of 100,
Nice, nice.
and then it's not bad. And then let me see where I'm at on Razor Crest. And then that should be 55 out of 100 on the Razor Crest. So that's not too bad. And then after that, after I get Executor, I have a lot of teams that I just want to finish out. I realize I have enough to make 2 bounty hunter teams. And so I think what I'm gonna do is farm like Aura and then Fennec, and then just try to make a second bounty hunter team out of those two. I'm probably going to build up a resistance like a JTR team, like not anything crazy, just something that I can use to beat up on some backline teams. Want to finish Chupio, and then I've started farming Iden just because I didn't realize this, but her node has the Vulture Droid on it,
Oh,
and I was
oh,
like,
that's nice.
that's a very good. I was like, it's like, hey, I don't have the Vulture Droid either. This is perfect timing. I may as well farm Iden. That, and I just have a bunch of teams I want to finish up. So, um, yeah, that's pretty much it for me. So, what you got?
Well, um, I will definitely be able to do the cam mission this run. Um, Everyone should be hitting the power requirements. Um, so my fives is R7, my Echo is R7, my Rex is R5, and I even went ahead and got my cam mods all together. And I'm actually to the point I was looking them over with Glurmit. I actually need to take health off of my Rex because my Rex actually he fits the speed, but he's actually too healthy, and I actually need to bring him back down so that he won't not so he won't not die. Um, my
How
archer
how much health did he have? About like
70k.
yeah, I mean, that's like
It's
the
on the health.
max.
It's on the
Yeah,
healthy. It's on the healthy side.
yeah, yeah.
Um, my Arc Trooper, because I'm slow farming Lord Vader at the same time, I'm gonna bring Arc Trooper up to R8. He'll be R5 today. I'm like 10 gray pieces away of the signal data. I think I'll be able to have him R8 by the time Lightside Geo hits. I'd like to have Shakti at like R5, but she is Gear 13 right now, and I'm going to give her both of her Zetas just to be sure that I'll hit the power tier. Um, but I checked her speed, like, her speed with my cam mods is like 370. So
Yeah.
we're going to be running pretty fast.
Yeah, that's that's too fast almost. I mean, there's never such thing as too fast, but pretty
um,
fast.
I got offense arrows on Arc and Echo. I'm not gonna lie, like we're looking pretty solid. So that's that. I'm also Akbar and Leia both got their Omicrons, and it's been really fun. I've used them in Grand Arena. They just get so much turn meter, and the banners is just glorious. I'm actually working. I'm gonna farm this team up before I officially start going for C requirements. Um, Now that Luke got his Omicron, I'm officially going forward. Akbar, Leia, Stormtrooper Han, Fulcrum, and Farm Boy Luke. I think that team could be a menace on defense in Territory Wars, or not Territory Wars, in Grand Arena, and then on offense, I think that team could really like punch up and beat something decent. So I'm gonna probably take that team to like all R5s. I might even R7 some of the characters. Um, but doing that, and then um, working on. Oh, also, I'm farming Emperor Shuttle because
Yeah,
I need.
please.
I'm especially since I'm going for C, and it just makes sense because I'm gonna have these characters at relics. But especially because also I got Chimera with the Interceptor. I want to have that up and running, so just doing that. But that's what I'm doing right now. It's been nice being in Kyber 3. I usually will alternate between 2 and 1. I actually just went 3 and 0 this past week in Kyber 3.
Nice.
The extra crystals is just so nice. You can just buy some things outright, and it makes relicking and taking things to Gear 13 so much easier. Um, but it's been good. Really like having an R8 gas is just like immaculate. Um, I've got him over 10,000 offense. He might be closer to 11,000. And then he's got. I'm working on the mods right now. My goal is to get him to over 100k protection. He's at like 95k, and this is with all offense primaries. I've got a so he's homie hits hard.
Good. Yeah. Uh, I forgot to say what I was farming on my other account. Basically, I've been farming Emperor Shuttle, Embo, and Hux, and
Nice.
that's pretty much it. Finally got the clones to cam ready on that account. I think what I'm gonna do is just start hoarding Cantina energy for whenever I'm ready to start building some CPIT teams on this account. So that's pretty much it. Not a whole lot. I might go for a GL. I just don't know which. If I did go for a GL on the account, it would probably be Supreme Leader, just because I got a lot of the First Order done. So,
That's what's up.
but yeah, not much. All right, I guess that's should be it, right? We don't have anything else.
Yeah,
No.
we've been running for
I
about
would,
a little over an hour
uh,
here.
uh, no one else chimed in. Yeah, no one else chimed in the channel. So I guess let's go ahead and. All right. See y'all later.
Yep. Appreciate you guys stopping by.